everybody. Welcome back to the Bumpkin News. Bumpkin in Chief here. And we want to discuss kind of a sensitive issue today. Today's October the 5th, 2011. I want to talk a little bit about reparations for descendants of slaves in the United States. We heard some audio the other day of some sort of, I'm not sure who it was, a Black Panther leader that was uh, trying to rev people up that reparations should be paid to black citizens in the United States. And before I get into this, I want to reiterate something I said in a previous video. Uh, I'm in a mixed marriage. My wife is a Negro and my children are biracial. And I have a lot of good black friends. Some of my closest friends are black. Uh, so I have kind of a unique perspective in that sense. And I also am an American, a veteran, a student of history. And I think this needs to be dealt with because this is clearly rabble rousing that's going on. I've never, of course, owned a slave. I think it's a hideous evil. Slavery's been in the world much, much longer than the United States has been. Slavery still exists in the world, still there. Um, it was a tremendous travesty and a tremendous wrong when it existed in this nation. Okay, but do black people, descendants of former slaves, do they uh, deserve reparations now? Well, what we're talking about here is we're talking about evening a score, which is what you would do with a civil lawsuit. If somebody damages my property, then I should be able to be made whole. I should be able to get some kind of recompense, some kind of reparation from them to compensate me for my loss. Uh, did slavery affect black people in this country, even into the present generation? Absolutely. And it's shown by the fact of this very topic that some people are buying into this, that somehow present day America is responsible for what happened in the past. Uh, First of all, let's look at what has America done to try to even the score when it comes to discrimination uh, against black Americans. Of course, we have the National uh, Civil Rights Act. We have affirmative action, which I've experienced that firsthand. I've seen black people and some good friends that I've worked alongside them, that they were promoted, you might say, in very good positions uh, that I was not eligible for because I was not a minority. And 25 years later, I finally attained the same position, uh, not through any kind of special program, but simply by virtue of the fact that I had to pay some dues and wait my time out. Uh, but like I say, there was no uh, enmity or anything there, and actually, one particular person, they realized this, and I don't blame people a bit for taking advantage of legal means to advance, and they tried to help me in every possible way to be successful in that position that they had already attained years and years before me, simply and only because of the color of their skin. And so that was you might say, a great remuneration to Black America. And then also we have all the various programs to help minorities and women in this country. There's so many things that way. But you know what? The biggest thing that I think has to be said as a response to this idea that America owes reparations to black people, and that is go to a national cemetery. Every American, in my opinion, there are two places that, or three places that every American should visit in when they are in school, field trips. One is the Grand Canyon, to see the grandeur of something like that, uh, breathtaking. And I'm sure on the way would see many other uh, grand sights of this beautiful, wonderful country in which we live. Another place that every young American should go is to Washington, D.C., and to see the government buildings and those things that uh, give witness of the great heritage of this nation. Uh, and the other place is the National Cemetery, Arlington, and dealing with this topic more specifically, uh, the cemetery and the environs at Gettysburg. Uh, if you've ever stood, as I have, on uh, Seminary Ridge and you looked out over that battlefield where hundreds and thousands of Americans were killed, you can see the price that America paid in blood for the abolishment of the great evil of slavery. And you think about all the graves in which uh, Union soldiers are lying now, so that that great evil could be erased and obliterated from our national canvas. You think about all the soldiers that went home without arms and legs and without vision, and all the mothers and all the wives and all the children that lost husbands and fathers and sons and brothers and those that could earn a living because of what they sacrificed and because of what they gave in that great struggle. Although that great struggle, we might digress here for a minute, was not uh, for the abolition of slavery uh, directly, but that had to be an integral part of it because that was the issue, you might say the disease that caused the great national controversy. So, what did they receive? What did those that gave up their lives and part of their lives to abolish slavery, and so that everyone in America could be free and uh, could enjoy the same constitutional rights as everyone else? What were they? What reparations did they receive? If you were to balance uh, the books, so to speak, right now, and let's say you gave every black citizen in the United States, what should it be? $50,000, $100,000? What if you gave every black citizen in the United States $100,000? Would that be the equivalent? Would that be of the same worth of the bloodshed and the misery and the suffering that was caused by that great struggle that we had in this country? Uh, Something very serious and very grave to think about. And so when I hear these calls for reparations, this is what I think about. Let me know what you think about it.